Anime has been known for some pretty awesome moments, but few are as awesome as when a character transforms in response to emotions or circumstances to achieve a greater state. Sometimes the villain becomes much more powerful by transforming, and sometimes it even involves the hero gaining a significant boost in power. So we've done our research and compiled a list of some of the best anime transformations of all time. Without wasting any more time, let's kick things off. Starting off this list, we have Jaeger Take's transformation from God of High School. Now, Jaeger Take is the primary antagonist of the Nationals arc, and as we all know, an antagonist transformation means that he's going to become super powerful. After taking the key, Jaeger first transforms into a little baby, and then he grows angel wings, and then he literally ascends and transforms into a godly figure, which looks exceptionally intimidating. The transformation has a really cool design, with Jaeger gaining angel wings with his otherwise demonic looking figure and even a third eye. His powers also at a godly level, and it's not until Jin Mori, the protagonist, becomes a god himself that Jaeger finds his match. The fight that takes place between the two looks great and really shows how strong both the characters are. Overall, the transformation looks gorgeous and does its job of making the antagonist look even scarier, so it definitely deserved a spot on this list. Next up, we have Giorno's Gold Experience transforming into Gold Experience Requiem. During the final confrontation between our heroes and Diavolo, Giorno gets his hand on the stand arrow. He pierces Gold Experience with the arrow, which ends up transforming into Gold Experience Requiem, although the risks were very high, as if the arrow hadn't accepted Giorno, then he would have died. Everyone was just so shocked, and that first attack was just so disrespectful to Diavolo. Even for JoJo standards, Gold Experience Requiem is just too overpowered. If a transformation involves concepts like space and time, then you already know that it's going to be on another level. The entire sequence was truly one of the best moments in JoJo, and that's saying a lot. Up next, we have the most massive transformation around from Gurren Lagann. Simon's mech becomes universal. Now, the show is about mechs that transform into bigger mechs, so what happens when the protagonist uses all of his power of friendship to make himself bigger? Well, his mech grows larger than the universe. During the final battle with the Anti-Spiral, after Lord Genome sacrificed himself, Simon's Tengen Topper Gurren Lagann absorbed all the spiral energy from the Anti-Spiral's Infinity Big Bang Storm and gained this form. Its name is Super Tengen Topper Gurren Lagann, which fits its size, since this mech is bigger than the observable universe. Apart from power and speed that comes at a scale so large, the mech looks absolutely stunning. It has such gorgeous colors going for it, and the backdrop is literally multiple universes. The transformation sequence itself is super cool too, since it involves multiple evolutions before achieving the final form. A robot made of literal energy? What's not to love? Coming up next, we have Akira transforming into Devilman. Now, this is the first transformation on our list where the protagonist gets an absolutely demonic transformation, but that's what makes it really good. To fight the demons terrorizing humanity, Akira uses the powers of the demon, Amon, while retaining his pure heart. His appearance changes into that of the devil, and he looks incredibly badass. The transformation sequence itself looks great, since it shows exactly how Akira's body tears and transforms into the devilish features Amon has, gaining wings and a muscular physique. Akira becomes exceptionally strong with massive regeneration abilities. With his transformation, he ends up becoming much stronger than most of the other demons he faces. It may be unfortunate that Akira had to unite with a demon to gain his powers, but it's just like they say, fight fire with fire. Moving on the list, we have Tetsuo Shima becoming a god. Now this is the second villain transformation to show up on this list where the villain gains godly power. This transformation though is much uglier than the one you saw with Jaeger Take, since Tetsuo initiates the transformation by becoming a large mass of flesh. When he finds Akira's remains below Neo Tokyo's Olympic Stadium, he starts to struggle with his powers when confronted by the military, the Espers, and Ganeda. This is when he completely loses control of his psychic abilities and turns into a strange, changed mass. Akira, summoned by the Espers, wakes up and takes Tetsuo into another world. The transformation sequence is especially horrid since it shows his entire body expanding and converting. It definitely sends a chill down your spine and looks gross in every way. Not all transformations are gorgeous, but sometimes power trumps beauty, especially when you're becoming a god. Breaking his way into this list is Ichiro as he transforms into the Red Riot Unbreakable from My Hero Academia. Well, technically, Ichiro's hero name is Red Riot, but this transformation is him turning into his hardest form yet, both literally and metaphorically. Ichiro has a hardening quirk that allows him to, well, harden his body, I suppose, making himself as solid as a giant boulder and difficult to penetrate. During his fight with the villain who could produce multiple blades, Ichiro's hardening ability wasn't up to the mark. This pushed him towards transforming into his unbreakable form. His body gets a really cool and really rugged appearance, making him look quite villainous. His red hair and sharp features just add to the effect of making him look like a bad guy. He also gets a very large boost to his defensive capabilities, as most of the attacks he's hit with are broken down upon contact. In at number 14, we have Mob as he goes to 100% in Mob Psycho 100. Now, Mob's usually a very calm little Esper, even though he has unmatched psychic abilities. The point where his abilities really shine though is when his emotions max out to 100%. The first time he transforms is an iconic moment indeed. While facing the high-level evil spirit Dimple and his large number of followers, Mob finally loses it. His hair spikes up like a Super Saiyan's and the entire group of people starts floating in the air due to his powers. Dimple proceeds to try to attack Mob in his new form, but is completely outclassed. Mob even defeats him with minimal effort. The transformation sequence isn't long, but the way the animators show Mob's power is amazing. His normal, peaceful demeanor completely changes, and even the way his face is animated is changed to make him more intimidating, similar to Saitama. Considering the burst of power and the aesthetic, it's definitely a great transformation. It's colourful, it's badass, and it showed us and Dimple how terrifying Mob can be. Next, we have Kaneki's transformation from Tokyo Ghoul. Now, precisely speaking, this is when Kaneki becomes completely unhinged after he's been tortured. When Kaneki is captured by Jason, aka Yamori, he's subjected to insane levels of torture, where it was so brutal to the point that he's physically abused and his fingers are just messed up. Jason abused Kaneki's regeneration abilities to continuously cut him up as his body healed, eventually leading to Kaneki breaking apart mentally from the pain. His hair turns white and he becomes much more powerful and unhinged. After breaking away from his restraints when Yamori tries to eat him, Kaneki proceeds to fight him like a beast that hasn't eaten for a week. Kaneki goes from being a docile goody two-shoes to becoming an absolute animal. His tolerance for pain increases by a whole lot and he becomes strong enough to dismantle and eat the S-rated ghoul Yamori. The transformation isn't like the others on this list where there's a sudden burst of power, because this time around it happened during the time he was tortured. It's actually really emotionally distressing if you ask me. And then we have Denji, the teenager deprived of a normal childhood that turned into Chainsaw Man for the first time. Denji is both an unlucky and lucky human who ends up befriending a demon dog that looks like a chainsaw. When Denji dies after being attacked by numerous zombies, Pochita fuses with him in the dumpster so he gains the power to become Chainsaw Man. His first appearance is super gory as he cuts through a horde of infected humans, spewing blood and brains everywhere. The design itself is really cool as Denji grows chainsaws out of his arms and forehead along with a sharp-toothed jaw. What's also cool is that he has to pull the starter cable in his chest to transform, like powering up and actual chainsaw. Not to mention, it's actually really painful for him to turn into Chainsaw Man because the chainsaws are literally ripping through his body. It's good that he's crazy because any sane person would have given up by now. Slashing his way into this list is Asta as he enters his half-demon form in Black Clover. Now, Astar's a regular musclehead with no magical powers in a world where pretty much everyone has them, but when Astar gains his half-demon form, he becomes a truly strong magic knight or anti-magic knight. Once the Witch Queen uses her blood magic to remove the restrictions on Astar's anti-magic, he discovers how to channel this energy throughout his body. This leads to a transformation where anti-magic flows within him, enveloping parts of his body and forming a horn on the right side of his head. Just like Akira from Devilman Crybaby, this is our second protagonist to become something akin to a demon, but again, it just looks so cool. The black aura that surrounds Asta in this form and his overall appearance are a sight to behold, not to mention the boost in power he gains both physically and in his anti-magic. Definitely makes him deserve a spot on this list. Now, if you're enjoying the transformations in the video so far, how about giving this video a like and subscribing while you're at it? And if your favourite transformation isn't here yet, don't worry, we've still got 10 more to go. Now that we're down to the top 10, let's have Alucard from Hellsing, who became Count Dracula. Now, keep in mind that this is the transformation shown in the Hellsing OVA. Alucard is a vampire, the strongest vampire around in fact. His original design is exceptionally demonic and he looks more like a villain than a hero in all regards. Being an immortal, overpowered vampire aside, Alucard also has a great fashion sense. He also has multiple transformations throughout the series, but this one has to be his best. His power is unsealed after special permission from Integra Hellsing. Once he unleashes the final seal, he becomes his original form, that of Vlad the Impaler. Now, this is quite possibly the only form in this list where a character becomes less demonic than his prior forms. The armor, the middle-aged look, and the stoic vibes are just completely different from Alucard's normal look. Oh, and did I mention that he gains the ability to summon an entire army? No topping that, unless it's Nezuko becoming an adult demon. Well, mainly because this is the only entry on the list where the character who transforms is a girl. Anyway, Nezuko was transformed into a demon by Muzan in a pretty tragic situation at that. The cool part of her transformation though is when she harnesses her powers, she becomes a full-blown adult demon. Her advanced demon form gives her enhanced power and a more sinister appearance. She gets to have tattoos that cover her body along with a horn. And not only that, her regeneration, strength, and bloodlust are put to the extreme to the point that she can overpower Daki, one of the Upper Moon's 6 siblings. Coming in at number 8, we have Itadori's first transformation into the antagonist Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen. Sukuna was known as the king of curses in the past and the strongest in history, while Itadori was just some random kid in a random high school that had the physical capabilities of a superhuman. Large differences in both their titles there, as you can see. But after Itadori eats one of Sukuna's fingers, he effectively reincarnates Sukuna into his own body. Now, Sukuna is like a very twisted version of Kurama, with Itadori being his Jinchuriki. All that aside, seeing the primary villain take over the main hero's body and possess large amounts of power was just a shock. His first transformation is truly iconic, as it shows that one of the worst threats humanity has faced has reincarnated into an almost normal boy. It wasn't flashy, nor was there a lot of explosions, but seeing him throw hands with Gojo was a great start to the series. And thus began the story of Jujutsu Kaisen. Moving on, we have Ichigo becoming a Vasto Lord. Ichigo has had his fair share of pretty awesome transformations, but his Vasto Lord form is definitely the coolest. After becoming a donor at the hands of Ulquiorra, Ichigo is basically left for dead, but instead of dying, his hollow powers completely manifest. This form was so powerful that he ranked in the highest level of hollows, bringing even Ulquiorra to his knees. The design was just too insane. Ichigo's hair grew long, he gained horns, a cool mask, and the humanoid body of a hollow. It was exceptionally intimidating and immensely powerful. When people first saw it, it was like the greatest recent power-up out of the big three. The sequence was awesome too, since Ichigo had basically died with a massive hole in his chest, but it simply led to his complete holification and subsequent transformation. I mean, sometimes being a donut does have some benefits. Next, we have Eren turning into the Founding Titan in one of the most anticipated moments, not just in Attack on Titan, but in all of anime. Now, this transformation marked the point of no return, where Eren effectively turned into a full-on villain and gained the power to start the rumbling and end most of the world. His form became extremely large, even larger than the army of colossal titans behind him. Other than being humongous and basically indestructible, Eren could even create the forms of the previous titan shifters, gaining another group of titans with powerful abilities. The entire ordeal was like an apocalypse, with his transformation changing the lives of every human on Earth. You can even see that in every character's faces. When they saw Eren, it was just pure terror. There aren't many transformations that have such a significant impact on both the story and on viewers, but this moment had everyone on the edge of their seats. You could truly feel it was the end of the world. Up next, we have by far the darkest transformation on this list: Griffith becoming a god hand in Berserk. Griffith, driven by his ambitions, makes a sacrificial pact with the God Hand to achieve his goals. During the eclipse, he sacrifices his comrades, the Band of the Hawk, in a ritual that merges the physical and astral worlds. As a result of this ritual, Griffith undergoes a profound transformation into a member of the God Hand, taking on the form of Femto. Now, Femto's appearance is that of a dark, demonic entity with immense powers, which looks exceptionally twisted and intimidating. He gains abilities like that of a god and becomes a significant antagonist in the series, embodying cruelty, ambition, and a detachment from humanity. The sacrifice took everything from the protagonist's guts, which led to the start of one of the darkest quests for revenge in anime history. I mean, you wouldn't believe what he did. Even the backdrop for this transformation was horrifying. Griffith effectively gave away all his humanity to become a twisted god. Before we reach the top 3 of this list, we have Naruto as he goes into his Six Tails version 2 form. This form, in our opinion, is the coolest looking form Naruto has, where he looks like a complete beast. He gains 6 tails and even a skeleton on top of his form, much like Skull Greymon from Digimon. He went into this form after he saw Pain almost kill Hinata and used it to combat the exceptionally powerful villain. The form is also super cool because after, Naruto went into his 8-tailed form for a small amount of time. The transformation looks gorgeously intimidating and lets Naruto fight against Pain, albeit briefly. The fact that it was due to him being enraged just adds to the awesomeness of the transformation sequence. Coming in the top 3, we have the last entry from the big 3 of Shonen. This transformation is the newest among the entries in this list and from a very, very popular series. The animators also went completely overboard with it, since it was a transformation fans had been looking forward to ever since the secret of Luffy's Devil Fruit was revealed in the manga. During the long fight against Kaido and his forces, it seemed like Luffy didn't have a chance against this Emperor of the Sea. Not until his Devil Fruit finally awakens and he transforms into the Sun God Nika. The scene was just exceptional, as it showed that the kid who we thought was a mere rubber boy had the power of a god. Luffy behaved much like a character from Looney Tunes and even affected the environment he was fighting in. He became so overwhelmingly powerful that he was even able to defeat Kaido, who seemed to be almost invincible during the course of the arc. A transformation that broke the internet and changed One Piece forever. Up next, we have Gon Freaks as he turns into an adult in Hunter x Hunter. Now, those who've seen the series know what kind of transformation this was, but let's give you a breakdown. After seeing that Neferpitou has killed his beloved friend Kite, Gon taps into an extreme amount of power, resulting in a temporary adult-like form. However, this transformation comes at a great cost. Gon essentially sacrifices his potential for growth as a nen user. The transformation itself is just exceptionally intimidating and powerful as Gon becomes muscular and his hair grows in length and stands on end. Adult Gon completely destroys Neferpitou, showcasing his true potential against a powerful enemy. The transformation serves as a significant moment in the series, showcasing the toll of Gon's emotional journey and the consequences of pushing oneself beyond one's limits in pursuit of revenge. At the top of this list, we have the most iconic transformation in the history of anime. The moment Goku turned into a Super Saiyan. Almost every anime fan knows about this moment, and most of us saw it in our childhood when anime wasn't even as mainstream as it is now. But that moment is forever etched in every fan's heart. Even years after it came out, you can still hear the scream, the sound effects, and imagine the moment all together. Goku became extremely enraged when Frieza murdered his best friend Krillin. His rage was so powerful that it kept everyone on the edge of their seats as the ground tore and lightning struck in the background. He finally became the golden-haired Super Saiyan that we all know and love. It was one of the first iconic transformations, not just in shonen, but in all of anime. It was the hypest moment that we ever experienced during our childhood, and might I say, it's still amazing even now. It was legendary, it was iconic, and it was perfect. That's why it's top of our list. And with that, we're wrapping up this list of top 20 transformations of all time. As we said before, there are numerous transformations in anime, and we'd love to know your favourites, so be sure to comment down below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. See you next time.